There is a particular kind of silence that isn't empty. It's heavy. It's the silence of a phone lying face down on a table. Your mind says you've put it away, that you're not waiting. But your body knows the truth. There's a low-frequency hum of anticipation in your nervous system, a phantom vibration you almost feel in your pocket, a tightening in your chest when you walk back into the room and see it, still dark, still quiet. You tell yourself you're busy. You are busy. You work, you meet friends, you live your life. But underneath the surface, a part of your attention is tethered to that small, dark screen. It's like an invisible thread pulling at you, a silent question mark that hangs in the air of every room you're in. It's not just about him. It's about the space he has come to occupy inside you, a space that remains active even in his absence. You stopped chasing. You stopped initiating. You told yourself this was an act of self-respect, and it was. But you didn't expect this side effect, that in your own silence, his silence would become louder. The waiting didn't stop, it just changed form. It went from an active pursuit to a passive, draining vigilance, a kind of low-grade fever of the soul. And the most confusing part is this: the less he gives, the more you seem to need. The more distant he becomes, the more significant he feels. It's a paradox that defies logic. Your rational mind knows this isn't right, that attention should follow reciprocity. But some deeper, more primitive part of you is hooked, caught in a cycle of hope and disappointment that feels both exhausting and addictive. You're not waiting for a message, you're waiting for relief. You're waiting for the tension in your body to finally release. You're waiting for a sign that you haven't been foolish, that you didn't imagine the connection, that you are not, in the end, alone in this feeling. But this is only the surface of the story. The truth of why you can't let go, why this particular silence has such a hold on you, is far deeper and has very little to do with him. It's not a weakness, it's a mechanism. An unconscious pattern has been awakened, and until you see it for what it is, you will remain a prisoner of the silent phone. This state of waiting is not a conscious choice. If it were, you would have chosen to stop long ago. No one willingly chooses to have their inner peace dictated by someone else's communication habits. This is a compulsion. It rises up from a place deeper than logic, a place the psychologist Carl Jung called the unconscious. And within this unconscious territory, something has been activated. Jung called these emotionally charged clusters of energy complexes. A complex is like a knot in your psyche. It's a collection of memories, emotions, beliefs, and even physical sensations that are bound together around a central theme. We all have them. A power complex, a mother complex, a father complex, and in this case, what has likely been triggered is an attachment complex. It's a pattern of relating to others that was formed very early in life, a blueprint for how you seek connection and how you react to the threat of its loss. This complex lies dormant most of the time. In a secure and stable relationship, it has no reason to activate. But when you encounter a dynamic of inconsistency, of intense connection followed by sudden withdrawal, of warmth followed by silence, it's like a specific key turning in a very old lock. The complex awakens, and when it does, it floods your system with an intensity of emotion that is completely out of proportion to the present situation. The anxiety you feel is not just about a man not texting you back. The complex amplifies it. It taps into an ancient primal fear, the fear of abandonment. For the child, abandonment is a threat to survival. The attachment complex remembers this terror on a cellular level. So when he goes silent, your adult mind might say, "He's busy," or "He's just not that interested." But the activated complex screams, "I'm being left. I'm in danger. I must reestablish the connection at all costs." This is why you can't just think your way out of it. You are not fighting a logical thought. You are wrestling with a powerful, emotionally charged energy center in your own unconscious. The waiting becomes a frantic, unconscious strategy to manage this overwhelming fear. Every time you check your phone, you are not just looking for a message. You are seeking a dose of reassurance to quiet the terrified part of you that the complex has awakened. This isn't about him. It's about you trying to soothe a very old wound that he, unwittingly, has just pressed upon. Understanding this is the first step to freedom. It moves the focus from him to you, not in a way that blames, but in a way that empowers. The question is no longer, why isn't he writing? The real question becomes, what is this attachment complex, and why does it have so much power over my inner peace? Let's be clear. This is not about diagnosing yourself or anyone else. It is about recognizing a pattern of energy within you. The attachment complex isn't a flaw. It's a part of your psychological inheritance, a survival strategy that you once needed. Perhaps in your childhood, love and attention were inconsistent. Perhaps you had to be exceptionally good or quiet or helpful to receive affection. You learned that connection was conditional and could be withdrawn at any moment. You learned to be vigilant, to watch for signs of displeasure or distance, to work hard to maintain the bond. That vigilance was a brilliant adaptation for a child. It helped you navigate your world. But now, in your adult life, that same program is running in the background. And this man, with his pattern of presence and absence, has become the perfect trigger for it. His inconsistency perfectly mimics the old dynamic where love felt precarious. So your unconscious mind, trying to solve an old problem, superimposes the past onto the present. This is the essence of what Jung called projection. You are not seeing only him. You are seeing him through the lens of your complex. You project onto him the role of the one who holds the key to your sense of safety and worth. His validation becomes the thing you need to prove that you are not, in fact, being abandoned. His message is no longer just a message. It becomes proof of your value. This is why the connection can feel so fated, so incredibly significant. The complex infuses the relationship with a tremendous amount of psychic energy. It feels like love. It feels like destiny. But a large part of that intensity is the energy of the activated wound. You are not just falling for a man. You are falling back into a primal emotional drama. The silent phone, then, is not just a phone. It has become a symbol. It is the altar upon which you are sacrificing your peace of mind. Each time you check it with that surge of hope and fear, you are performing a ritual of seeking external validation to calm an internal storm. But like any addiction, the relief is temporary. The moment of disappointment when there's no message just reinforces the complex's core belief. I am not worthy of consistent connection. I must keep waiting, keep trying. The way out of this loop is not to try harder to get his attention. It is not to devise a clever strategy to make him message you. Those are all tactics that feed the complex. They keep your energy focused outward, on him. The true path to liberation is to turn your attention inward. This begins with a radical act of self-observation, without judgment. When you feel the compulsion to check your phone, pause. Just for a second. Don't fight the urge, just notice it. Where do you feel it in your body? Is it a tightness in your throat, a hollow feeling in your stomach, a restlessness in your hands? Breathe into that sensation. Acknowledge it. You can even say to yourself, there is the waiting. The complex is active right now. By naming it, you create a tiny sliver of space between your conscious self and the compulsive energy of the complex. You are no longer completely possessed by it. You are the one who is observing it. This is a monumental shift. In that space, you can begin to parent the part of you that is afraid. The complex is, in essence, a very young part of you, frozen in time, still believing it needs external validation to survive. Your adult self can now provide the reassurance it never received. Instead of reaching for the phone, you can metaphorically reach for this inner part of you. You can place a hand on your heart and say, silently or out loud, I am here. I am not leaving you. You are safe, even in this silence. Your worth is not in that phone. It is right here, with me. This will feel strange at first. It might even feel foolish. Your mind, addicted to the drama of waiting, will protest. It will tell you this is pointless, that the only thing that will make you feel better is his message. But that is the voice of the complex, trying to keep you in the familiar loop. Your job is not to argue with it, but to gently and consistently choose a different path. The process of stopping the weight is not a single decision. It is a practice. It is 1,000 small moments of choosing to return your energy to yourself instead of sending it out to him. Imagine your life force, your attention, as a stream of golden light. For weeks or months, you have been directing that entire stream towards him, towards the silent phone. You have been watering a plant in someone else's garden, while your own garden withers. The decision to stop waiting is the decision to redirect that stream of light back onto yourself. What does this look like in practice? It means when the urge to check his social media arises, you consciously choose to read a page of a book instead. It means when you find yourself composing a message in your head, you instead write down 3 things you are grateful for in your own life. It means when you feel the ache of his absence, you put on music and dance for 5 minutes, or you go for a walk and focus on the feeling of the sun on your skin. These are not distractions. They are acts of profound psychological repatterning. You are teaching your nervous system that it can find safety and pleasure within yourself, not just from an external source. You are creating new neural pathways. You are showing the attachment complex that your adult self is now in charge, and that you are a reliable source of comfort and validation. This is not about manipulation. There is a popular idea that if you withdraw your attention, he will suddenly feel the loss and come running back. This is framed as a tactic, a power move. But that is still playing the same game. It is still doing something with the secret hope of getting a reaction from him. It keeps him at the center of your universe. The transformation we are talking about here is fundamentally different. You are not withdrawing to punish him or to provoke him. You are withdrawing your energy because you have realized it is the most precious resource you have, and you are no longer willing to pour it into a void. You are doing it for you. You are doing it because your own inner peace has become more important than his validation. And here is the strange and powerful truth. When you genuinely shift your focus, the entire dynamic changes. He may or may not notice. He may or may not come back. But from your perspective, it will cease to matter in the same desperate way. The energetic cord that tied your well-being to his actions will have been severed. This is the process of withdrawing your projection. You begin to see him more clearly, not as the savior or the source of all your pain, but simply as a person with his own issues and limitations. The godlike qualities you projected onto him begin to fade, and you see him as he is, a man who is inconsistent, a man who is unable or unwilling to meet you where you are. And with that clarity comes a kind of sober peace. The obsession lifts, like a fever breaking. Carl Jung believed that the goal of psychological life is individuation, the process of becoming a whole, integrated individual. This involves taking back our projections, integrating our complexes, and finding our center of gravity within ourselves, in what he called the self. This painful experience of waiting, this activation of your attachment complex, is, in a strange way, a call to individuation. Life has presented you with a situation that so perfectly triggers your deepest wound that you can no longer ignore it. The pain is a messenger. It is pointing you directly to the part of you that needs healing and integration. If you continue to focus on him, you miss the opportunity. You remain stuck in the loop. But if you have the courage to turn inward and face the complex, you can transform this agonizing experience into one of the most significant moments of your personal growth. You can heal a wound that has been running your life from the shadows. So, when does the waiting truly stop? It stops when you are sitting in your living room on a Tuesday night and you realize you haven't thought about him for 3 hours. It stops when you pick up your phone to call a friend and you don't even have a flicker of hope or dread about a potential message from him. It stops when you hear a song that used to remind you of him, and it's just a song again. It doesn't stop with a dramatic declaration. It fades away, quietly, as your life force flows back into your own life. It stops when your own thoughts become more interesting than the fantasy of his. It stops when your own plans become more exciting than the possibility of his. The silence of the phone remains, but it no longer holds any power. It's just silence. It is no longer a judgment on your worth. It is no longer a symbol of abandonment. It is simply the absence of a sound, because the source of your validation, your safety, and your wholeness is no longer located in a device on a table. It is located in the center of your own being. If this journey of turning inward resonates with you, if it names something you have felt but never had the words for, take a moment. You don't need to share it, but write down one sentence for yourself, a sentence that marks this shift in perspective. Perhaps it's something simple. The healing of the attachment complex is not about becoming a cold or detached person who no longer needs connection. It is the opposite. It is about becoming a person who is so securely connected to herself that she can enter into relationships from a place of wholeness, not from a place of need. You will be able to give and receive love freely, without the constant gnawing fear of it being taken away. You will be able to tolerate the normal ebbs and flows of a relationship without being thrown into a primal panic. You will attract people who are capable of consistency because you are no longer energetically available for the drama of inconsistency. Your entire system, now calibrated to self-worth, will naturally repel dynamics that require you to abandon yourself. This man and his silence were the catalyst. He was the stone that dropped into the still pool of your unconscious and brought the mud to the surface. You can be angry at the stone. You can obsess about the stone. You can wait for the stone to do something else. Or you can thank the stone for showing you what was at the bottom of your own pool. And then you can get to the sacred work of clearing your own water. The work is to sit with the discomfort, to choose yourself over and over again, to learn to be your own safe harbor. It is quiet, internal, and deeply courageous work. There are no external rewards at first. The only reward is a growing sense of inner peace, a quiet solidity in your core. One day, you will look back at this period of obsessive waiting, not with shame, but with a kind of gentle gratitude. You will see it as the time your soul demanded that you finally come home to yourself. The time you learned that the only love that can never be taken away is the love you cultivate within. And the silence you once feared will have transformed into a beautiful, spacious quiet. A quiet in which you can finally hear your own voice, clear and strong. My peace is no longer waiting for a notification. It is the foundation I am building, one moment of self-reclamation at a time. The story is no longer about whether he writes. The story is about the woman you become when you finally stop waiting. The story is about the woman you become when you finally stop waiting. But to become that woman, you must first be willing to descend into the layers beneath the story. The first layer is not in the mind, but in the body. The attachment complex, this knot of psychic energy, has a physical address. It lives in your tissues, in your breath, in the very chemistry of your blood. Your body remembers the original wound of inconsistent connection with a fidelity that your conscious mind cannot. It remembers the feeling of a small child waiting for a caregiver's return, the tension in the little shoulders, the held breath, the frantic scanning of the environment for a sign of safety. When this man's silence triggers the complex, your body doesn't know it's 2024 and you're an adult with a job and a home. It regresses. It accesses this deep somatic memory. The nervous system, specifically the ancient vagus nerve which connects your brain to your gut, sounds the alarm. You are plunged into a low-grade state of sympathetic activation, the fight or flight response. But there is nothing to fight and nowhere to flee. So you freeze. You wait. This is the physiological state of hypervigilance. It manifests in subtle ways you might not even notice. The breath that becomes shallow, residing only in the top of your chest. The unconscious clenching of your jaw while you sleep. The coldness in your hands and feet as your body redirects blood flow to your major muscles, preparing for a threat that never arrives. The vague, persistent ache in your stomach, a sign of a digestive system shut down by stress hormones like cortisol. This isn't in your head. The fatigue you feel is real. The mental fog is real. You are running a marathon of waiting, and your body is paying the price. The work of reclaiming yourself, then, must also be a somatic practice. It is the work of convincing your body, on its own terms, that you are safe now. When the urge to check the phone washes over you, and you feel that familiar hollow ache in your solar plexus, try this. Instead of reaching for the phone, place both hands over that spot. Don't try to make the feeling go away. Just bring warmth and pressure to it. Breathe deeply into your hands, imagining your breath traveling all the way down into your belly, expanding it like a balloon. On the exhale, sigh. A long, audible sigh. This simple act is a powerful signal to the vagus nerve. It says, the threat has passed. You can stand down. You are manually switching your nervous system from its sympathetic panic mode back into its parasympathetic rest and digest state. You are, quite literally, finishing a stress cycle that has been stuck on a loop. Another practice is shaking. When an animal survives a predator's attack, it will often shake violently to discharge the enormous amount of adrenaline from its system. We have forgotten this wisdom. Put on a piece of music and just let your body shake. Shake your hands, your arms, your legs, your hips. It might feel silly, but you are metabolizing the frozen energy of anxiety. You are letting the tension leave your tissues, rather than allowing it to fester. You are telling your body, the danger is over. I survived. Because you have. You have survived every moment of silence up until now. As you begin to tend to your body in this way, you create the internal safety needed to explore the next, deeper layer, the shadow. Jung taught that the shadow is the container for all the parts of ourselves we have disowned, the qualities we were taught were unacceptable, bad, or unlovable. We don't get rid of the shadow, we project it onto others. We are simultaneously repulsed and fascinated by people who embody the very traits we have denied in ourselves. Now, look at him. Not the idealized version, but the reality of his behavior, his inconsistency, his freedom to disappear, his seeming ability to detach, to prioritize his own needs, to not be beholden to your feelings. A part of you, the part conditioned to be the good girl, is rightfully angered and hurt by this. But could there be another part of you, a hidden part, that is secretly in awe of it? Perhaps you were taught that to be loved, you had to be reliable, consistent, and always considerate of others' feelings. You learned to be the easy one, the one who never makes a fuss. Your own need for space, for freedom, for unapologetically putting yourself first was banished to the shadow. And now, here is a man who lives out that disowned freedom so effortlessly. He comes and goes as he pleases. He doesn't seem tortured by the need for approval. The intense magnetic pull you feel is not just love. It is the deep, unconscious recognition of a lost part of yourself. You were not just trying to get him, you were trying to get his freedom. You were trying to merge with him, to reclaim the part of you that you were forced to abandon. This is the golden shadow, the projection of our unlived potential. The obsession is a misguided attempt at integration. The true work is to withdraw that projection, to stop trying to get that quality from him, and to start cultivating it in yourself. This is the act of owning your shadow. It means giving yourself permission to be a little more selfish, to cancel plans when you're tired, to turn off your phone for an evening not as a tactic, but because you desire your own uninterrupted peace, to take that solo trip you've been dreaming of, to say no without a long explanation. As you begin to consciously embody this freedom for yourself, his power over you diminishes dramatically. He is no longer the magical keeper of a quality you lack. You are finding it within yourself. The desperate need for him dissolves, replaced by a growing self-respect. And as you practice these things, tending to your body, owning your shadow, the inner signs of liberation begin to appear. They are subtle at first, like the first hints of spring after a long winter. The quality of your own silence will be the first thing to change. Before, silence was a vacuum, filled with the noise of your anxiety. Now, you will notice moments of a different kind of quiet, a spacious, fertile quiet. In this quiet, old hobbies might call to you again. You might find yourself wanting to paint, or write, or plant something. Your creative life force, which was being entirely consumed by the waiting, is now flowing back into you. Your dreams may also shift. The anxiety dreams of missing a call or searching for him in a crowded room might be replaced by dreams of power and agency. You might dream of flying, of discovering hidden rooms in your house, of speaking a language you didn't know you knew. These are symbols from your unconscious, telling you that you are integrating new strengths and expanding your own inner world. You'll feel it in your body, too. One day you'll catch your reflection and notice you're standing differently. The slight protective hunch of the person waiting to be struck by disappointment is gone. Your shoulders are back, your gaze is level. There is a new solidity in your stance, and perhaps the most telling sign of all, a sense of humor about it returns. You'll remember the frantic checking, the obsessive analysis of his active now status, and you won't feel shame. You'll feel a wave of deep compassion for the woman you were, followed by a light, gentle chuckle. You can see the absurdity of the drama now, because you are no longer on stage, you're in the audience. And then comes the final exam. It will likely come when you least expect it. Months may have passed. You are in your life, truly in it. You are making dinner, laughing with a friend, absorbed in a project. Your phone lights up. A name you haven't seen in a long time. It's him. The old you would have experienced a full-body shockwave, a jolt of adrenaline, a spike of cortisol. Your heart would hammer against your ribs. Your mind would race, 1,000 possibilities igniting at once. The world would narrow to that glowing screen. But now, something different happens. There might be a flicker, a ghost of the old jolt, like the echo of a bell, but it passes in a second. You look at the message. "Hey, stranger, been a while, how are you?" You read the words, and you feel nothing. Not anger, not ecstasy, not even vindication. You feel a profound and peaceful neutrality. It's just information. A person from your past has reached out. You put the phone down and continue chopping your vegetables. You are not playing a game. You are not strategizing about the perfect, coolly detached response time. You genuinely don't feel an urgency to reply. Your peace is no longer contingent on this communication. Later, perhaps after you've eaten, you might pick up the phone again. You look at his message, and you see it with absolute clarity for the first time. You see the low effort. You see the casual bid for a hit of attention. You see a person who is likely a little bored or lonely, casting a line back into waters he once found accommodating. And you feel a quiet, gentle sadness for him. But more than that, you feel a deep, abiding gratitude for the journey he inadvertently sent you on. From this place of wholeness, you decide what to do. Maybe you reply with a simple, polite, "I'm doing well, thanks. Hope you are too." It's kind, but it's closed. It offers no hook for further conversation. Or maybe you realize you have absolutely nothing you need to say. Your story with him is complete. You press archive, and as the message thread disappears from your main screen, you feel a final, gentle click, as if the last piece of a vast puzzle has just settled into place. You pass the test, not for him, but for you. This journey was never truly about learning how to stop waiting for his message. It was about dismantling the inner architecture that made the waiting seem necessary in the first place. It was about becoming a woman who generates her own safety, who owns her own freedom, and whose validation comes from the unshakable core of her own being. The silence that you once experienced as a personal rejection has now become a sanctuary. It is the quiet space where you hear your own intuition. It is the stillness in which you can feel your own solid ground beneath your feet. You are no longer a ship being tossed on the waves of someone else's attention and approval. You have become the harbor. You are the safe place to return to. And from this harbor, you can watch the ships of the world, his included, come and go, knowing that your own foundation is secure, your own peace is non-negotiable, and your own life is finally, fully your own.